President Trump's tax returns have been released, but now what's gonna happen? Let's take a look at this headline. 6 years of Trump's tax returns are now public. 6 years of former President Donald J. Trump's tax returns, long shrouded in secrecy, were released to the public on Friday by the House Ways and Means Committee, the culmination of a battle over their disclosure that went all the way, and I mean all the way, to the United States Supreme Court. The returns spanning the years of 2015 through 2020 were obtained by the Democratic-run committee only a few weeks ago after a protracted legal battle. The committee voted last week to release the tax returns, but their release was delayed to redact sensitive personal information like social security numbers. That certainly was a good thing. This reporting is coming from the CNN. Further, the release of the tax returns follows a year-long pursuit for documents that had typically been made public voluntarily. I want you to underline, bold it, underscore the word voluntarily, by past US presidents. Trump and his legal team continuously sought to keep his returns secret, arguing that Congress had never wielded its legislative powers to demand a president's tax returns, which Trump said could have far-reaching implications. So let's think about what insights do the release of President Trump's tax returns reveal? I mean, is it something that Big Mama and Big Papa in the hoods where they misunderstood, whether they're rural hoods, urban hoods, or suburban hoods, do they reveal something that they actually want to know? Well, let's see. The thousands of pages of documents from the former president's personal and business federal tax returns, which span the years through 2015 through 2020, provide a complex web of raw data about Trump's finances, offering up many questions about his wealth and income that could be pursued by both auditors and Trump's political opponents. Let's underline, underscore, bold, put it in a message in a bottle and put it on the train, not on the plane, especially not Southwest. The auditors, that's one thing, but his political opponents. So President Trump did have a response to this. Obviously he did. Trump says tax return release will lead to horrible things for so many people. And then the statement, the Democrats should have never done it. The Supreme Court should have never approved it. And it's going to lead to horrible things for so many people. The great USA divide will now grow far worse. The radical left Democrats have weaponized everything. But remember, that is a dangerous two-way street. Now, Alonzo, I'm bringing you in on this. I think the former president has a point at that end. I mean, my grandmother used to say even a broke clock is right twice a day. That this could, in fact, have some type of consequences and repercussions that are based on a two-way street.
With all due respect to your grandmother, a broken clock is right more than Donald Trump. No, my problem with this is there's nothing new here, right? We know he cheated on his taxes. I mean, now we see the extent to which in some years there were, I guess, millions of dollars of income. And I think 2 years he paid like $750 in taxes, and 1 year it was nothing at all. But this is nothing we didn't know. He bragged about not paying taxes. His cult, they think this makes him a brilliant businessman, even as they pay more taxes than him, which is the comical thing about the cult. There's a cult member making 50 grand a year who's paying more in taxes than Donald Trump, and he thinks Donald Trump's a genius. So, good on Trump for that one. The Democrats knew that there was a lot of crooked going on, but the problem is what this shows is a problem with our tax code because nothing he did was illegal. Apparently, it was it's the system. So the system is so weighted for millionaires. Also, we probably, if you dig into it, you find out he's not a billionaire, but we know he's been lying about that forever. And so I don't think there's any giant smoking gun here. As far as it being weaponized and used against you, do you think there's anything that the Republicans wouldn't use against Democrats? Like, do you think this is suddenly they're like, oh, now we're gonna do? No, they fight dirty. This is what they do. I've said it a long time ago. When they go low, Democrats go high. No, when they go low, you got to go lower, because believe me, they have no problem. If there were a Democrat who had this kind of money, who had shady business deals with his own family members and whatever else, do you think the Republicans would for one moment look the other way? They were mad when Barack Obama made $1 million book deal after leaving the White House. They tried to figure out how that was criminal. So no, there's no new tactic for the Republicans here, I don't believe.
Well, I'm glad, Alonzo, we're gonna have a robust conversation here when it comes to this. Now, you mess with my grandma, so now you got a problem on side. You don't nobody, and I mean nobody, come up against grandma. But I will say, I definitely agree with you about the political tactics, but both parties, I assure you, deploy these types of tactics on each other. And for me, that is part of a larger problem, because the everyday people of this country, the workaday people of this country, they get left behind while these two giant parties continue to fight one another and say who's worse, who's worse, who's worse. And the Dems contend that this had to be done. And I'm not arguing that it did not have to be done. I mean, every president, I believe, since the mid or late 1970s, let's just say since the 1970s, modern history has voluntarily released their tax returns. Tax returns are private. They're private for private citizens, and they're also private for elected officials. But Trump lied the whole time, Alonzo. As you said, he lied the whole time. He told people he's gonna release these daggone tax returns. He bragged that he was some type of big billionaire, some genius. We're finding out that that is not true. But my big question is, now that they have been released, what will this Congress focus in on? Are they going to continue to go back and forth with one another? We know that the Republicans are going to control the House, and Trump is asking them to investigate Biden. See, so while they playing these games, Big Mama, Big Papa, and their children are being left behind. You are absolutely right. There's nothing new here. We knew, but they're out now. This is what they wanted to have happen. My fear is that they're gonna keep battling back and forth politically over this, and not a whole lot is going to get done for the American people. I so wish, Alonzo, and I would love for you to weigh in on this. I really wished that elected officials, whether they Republican or Democrat, would put this much effort into really changing the material conditions of the people of this country. I mean, I wish they had this same type of dogged determination that they had to get this man's tax returns, which I'm glad they out. The American people do have a right to know. The man said he wasn't gonna release them. He didn't release them. It went all the way to the Supreme Court. Here we are, they're released. But I'm just hoping that they will use some of this energy, some of this fervor to increase the minimum wage, to pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, to pass the George Floyd Policing Act, to pass the PRO Act. Those kinds of things that Big Mama and Big Papa could feel. Your thoughts?
Well, Nina, I agree with you. The problem is there's no money in helping the American people. There's no money in it. So why would they be bothered helping the American people? There's no profit to be had. When you talk about the investigation of Biden, of course there'll be an investigation of Biden, and it's just like Benghazi with Hillary, right? And they even admitted after investigating Benghazi for however many years that the whole thing was a smokescreen and designed to, I don't know, refocus attention. I don't even know how you describe it. So yeah, they're gonna investigate Biden over who knows what and his son's, laptop and all of that nonsense. And you're right, it's all smoke to cover, not having a windfall tax, right? A windfall tax would pay for half of what you just talked about. Just these corporate, I was laughing the other day. So the price of gas has dropped about $1.20 or whatever a gallon from the peak over the summer. I don't see any of those little Joe Biden stickers saying, I did that. Remember they had those stickers when the price of gas went up? They were putting them on gas pumps. Little pictures of Joe Biden saying, I did that. So why, if he's responsible for gas going up, why isn't he credited for gas going down? The point being, the price of gas and the price of everything else went up because these corporations have their profits. Even they couldn't imagine how much their profits went up, 1,000%, 1,200%. No windfall tax, nothing to stop these people. Billionaires paying less in taxes than anyone on this screen right now. I wish I got Jeff Bezos' tax bill because I could pay it this week and kick back. Right?
No, I hear you. I mean, you're right about that.
So
And that's both parties, though. The Democrats
it is both parties. It is
the
the
Democrat
problem
the
is the money.
Democrats, Alonzo, the Democrats are fully in control right now at this moment.
Have been for
the last
years.
few years. The
Yes,
House, the Senate,
absolutely.
and the White House, and yet we have had none of the things that really changed the material conditions of people. I mean, they let the child tax credit expire, and they ain't outraged about that. So it's all kinds of things. So it's not just the Republicans, unfortunately, that plays games with the minds, hearts, souls, and lives of the American people from all stripes. The Democrats are part of that as well. But we're gonna have to come back to that, Alonzo. When I have you back on, we'll continue to banty this about.
Well, the last thing, real quick, I just wanted to say, in any crime, what do they say? Follow the money. And you follow the money here, and you get to both sides, getting this money from the same pot.
From the same pot. Yep. The corporatist wings of both parties are absolutely in control. I definitely agree with you on that.